Evaluating hot spring deposits is crucial for uncovering hidden mineral wealth, linking surface indicators to deep geological processes. Studies such as Coonen and Silito's 1989 research in Australia demonstrate how sinter deposits can signal the presence of valuable minerals like gold and silver, highlighting the importance of geological events associated with low sulfidation epithermal deposits. Recent discoveries such as the 2016 study conducted by Guido and Campbell in Argentine Patagonia provide additional evidence of the link between surface deposits and mineralization. This emphasizes the crucial role of geology in unveiling the Earth's hidden riches through the interpretation of surface clues. Welcome everyone to San Marcos SEG podcast Peruvian Andean Treasures. My name is Paula Martinez and I'm joined by Rosa Rasori as your co-host for this first episode. Rosa, it's wonderful to have you here. How are you today? And what captivating topic do we have in store for our listeners?
Hi Paula, I'm truly excited to be here with you. Today we are delving into a fascinating subject: how the unconsolidated deposits found in hot springs can serve as invaluable guides for tracing our deposits. And to shed further light on this intriguing topic, we are honored to welcome an expert in the field of geothermal systems in Peru, Viana Pajuelo. Viana, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the invitation, Rosa and Paula. I'm delighted to be part of this podcast.
It's a pleasure for us to have you here, Viana. We are eager to delve into your expertise in geothermal systems. Could you share some insights with us, please?
Sure, let me introduce myself. I'm a geologist from San Marcos University. I started with regional geology doing fieldwork in volcanic terrains along the Andes, old and recent volcanic deposits. The experience gained in the project allowed me to study at El Salvador, with a subject related to geothermal energy, developed under support of El Salvador government and Nordic development funding. I found it particularly interesting to learn how drilling is so related to oil wells, but also it was interesting that in geothermal drilling, it results important to identify the occurrence of hydrothermally altered rocks. Fluids migrating to surface generate a hydrothermal system, and as a consequence, mineral precipitation. All this process gave me the curiosity to look for more information about active geothermal systems and the relation with mineral deposits. I think this was one of the reasons that I decided to pursue a master's degree in New Zealand, in order to know about all these details. I focus on unconsolidated deposits around hot springs for chemical purpose, and I applied a case at Jaraña Puno, south of Peru.
And what kind of unconsolidated deposits?
Let me explain further about these unconsolidated deposits. Generally, geothermal systems are controlled by magmatic sources and, with time, generate low sulfidation epithermal deposits. Hot springs on the surface have unique characteristics with their neutral pH and chloride water, and may also generate sinter, which is a silica rock in layering formed with watery solutions. Travertines, on the other hand, are carbonate-rich deposits located farther from the source, generally without importance as a key finder for low sulfidation epithermal deposits. However, not all geothermal systems are controlled by magmatic source. They can have a different geologic environment. For example, deep fault systems. So, hot springs may have different chemical characteristics over the surface, resulting in travertines. Of course, considering the country rock water mixture with other underground water before pop up as hot springs.
Diana, I found a relationship that exists between geothermal systems generated by magmatic activity and low sulfidation epithermal deposits very interesting. Furthermore, you mentioned unconsolidated deposits such as sinters and travertines. Does one have a greater affinity for hosting metals, or is there a distinct mineralogical assemblage for each?
There is a special affinity for some metals to match into sinter or travertine structures. And it is also necessary to emphasize that it is possible to find all sinter, even from Devonian times, and travertines generally are from recent times. Also, Recent studies have shown that sinter are associated with concentration with gold and silver, while travertines have affinities for metals as copper, lead, and zinc, as well as arsenic and iron, implying that metals are part of country rocks. Such association on sinter help as a key finder for epithermal low sulfidation deposit.
And what's the reason behind making such a distinction?
Well, specifically, when we find sinter, we are referring to a magmatic geologic environment where low sulfidation epithermal deposits are forming, which might take around 10 million years to be ready. In the case of travertine, they can form in various environments, including magmatic source or not. Additionally, and I'm going to highlight this, travertines can precipitate with or without biotic influence, common in all geothermal systems.
This last point you've mentioned is awesome. In fact, I'm curious about how biotic activity is causing mineral precipitation in these deposits.
Oh, well, different causes, Paula. Biotic precipitation can cause precipitation of metals in several ways. For instance, the excess concentration of elements mobilizing to the surface throughout country rocks and water around. Additionally, bacterial presence or their molds left before their death can be helpful for capturing base metals and generating crystallization forms. Microorganisms during their metabolic activity and even during a non-metabolic activity capture base metals. Also, there is evidence that microorganism cells host base metals. For example, iron oxidizing or sulfur oxidizing bacterium are capable of capturing base metals and of developing a metabolism from metals, which becomes part of metallurgical process developing mines.
Oh, got it.
Well, it's really fascinating how some bacteria can influence like that. Now, let's move on to the hot springs distribution in Peru. Based on data from the Peruvian Geological Survey, we found that they emerge along the Andes. But in which specific sectors are these associated with unconsolidated surface deposits?
Actually, Peru contains most of the hot springs along the Central Andes, according to the inventory of hot springs made by Geological Survey of Peru. Also, we have a regional metallogenic map with mineral deposits exhumed by different processes like regional faults. With this information, we can overlap mineral deposits next to hot springs. It is important to evaluate unconsolidated deposits associated with hot springs like in Jaraña, south of Peru, topic that I was talking about at the beginning. Jaraña has a register of travertine rich in base metals as lead, zinc, and copper associated with high values of iron and arsenic. These deposits are integrated with silica, but the bulk is calcareous with iron containing more base metals. According to mineral exploration in Jaraña, rocks contain minerals such as copper and lead. These two base metals were found in travertine over surface, so travertines in this area result crucial for mineral prospecting, providing valuable information.
Oh no, Paula, we are running out of time. But before we go, we would like to close with one last question to you, Diana. What recommendations do you offer for carrying out this method more effectively as a guide in the geological prospecting of epithermal deposits?
My recommendation would be to not disregard unconsolidated deposits around hot springs. If we find hot springs, it is essential to conduct a macroscopic evaluation, and if it results important, chemical analysis should be done. So, do not discard information that would be useful to make an important finding.
Thank you so much for your recommendation, Diana. We are truly grateful for your time here on this podcast. It has been a wonderful experience to share with you during our first broadcast of Peruvian Andean Treasures.
For sure, a very interesting podcast. We talk about hot springs, mineral precipitation in its unconsolidated deposits, and even how bacteria can influence these processes. Again, thank you so much, Diana, for being here with us.
Happy to share my knowledge. I enjoyed this podcast. Thank you.
This project was brought to life by the San Marcos SEG student chapter in Peru. with the support of Álvaro Zapata, Jan Crisólogo, and Ludwig Vara as the production team. The background music in this episode is Hot Wheel Breakdown by Elliot Holmes, licensed through Adobe Stock and Epidemic Sound. Remember to follow us to learn more about economic geology. See you in the next episode!